Everything is fair in love and war. It's one of the most famous quotes ever used in cinema, but when I watched this anime series, then I thought that it was said right. Hello and welcome back everyone to your favorite YouTube channel. Here we share interesting information about different anime series of different genres. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get regular videos, and do not forget to press the bell icon to never miss an update. In today's video, we're going to discuss an anime series which I watched recently, To the Abandoned Sacred Beasts. So without wasting any time, let's get started. The series To the Abandoned Sacred Beasts, originally known as Katsute Kami Datta Kemono-tachi, is a Japanese dark fantasy manga series written and illustrated by Maybe. It's been serialized in Kodansha's Bisatsu Shonen magazine since June 2014. Later, the manga was licensed for English release in North America by Vertical. As a 12-episode anime television series adaptation by MAPPA, was broadcasted from July to September in 2019. The plot of the series is quite interesting as it starts with a backstory that after 100 years, the immigrants on the continent of Patria established a democratic nation, and the discovery of an energy source called Somnium or sparked a conflict. The nation of Patria split between the industrial Northern Union and the mining towns of the Southern Confederation, and began fighting a civil war. While the South had greater numbers, the North had a secret weapon, the Incarnates, soldiers who could transform into giant mythical beasts and single-handedly destroy enemy emplacements. However, when the war ended and a peace treaty was negotiated, the Incarnates were supposed to be destroyed. Instead, an officer named Kane betrayed his superiors and fled with the surviving Incarnates across the continent. 2 years later, an Incarnate named Hank has made it his mission to hunt down the surviving Incarnates, assisted by a young woman named Nancy, who blames him for killing her father. Let's take a look at the characters of the series. The list starts with the main characters. At first, we have Hank Henriette. The character is voiced by Kazuyoki Konishi in Japanese and by Ray Chase in English. He is the former captain of the Incarnates, who was left to be dead near the end of the war. 2 months later, he became a beast hunter, hunting down the surviving Incarnates across Patria before they cause more destruction. He is capable of transforming into a werewolf under moonlight and fights with a giant spear. Then we have the female lead, Nancy Skull Bancroft. The character is voiced by Ai Kakuma in Japanese and by Erica Harlacher in English. The daughter of John William Bancroft, she holds Hank responsible for his death and tries to shoot Hank the first time she meets him. Skull wields an elephant gun and reluctantly decides to help Hank in exchange for learning the truth of the Incarnates and what caused them to go insane. Then we have Kane Madhouse. The character is voiced by Yuichi Nakanori in Japanese and by Mick Wingert in English. Formerly a nobleman named Kane Withers, he was vice captain of the Incarnates who betrayed Elaine near the end of the war, shooting her through the chest before fleeing with the surviving Incarnate soldiers. He is called the Vampire Incarnate, the immortal king of blood and the night. Then we have another female character, Elaine Blue Lake. The character is voiced by Mamiko Noto in Japanese and by Allegra Clark in English. She is a doctor whose research gave birth to the Incarnates and also developed a means to kill them at the end of the war. However, she was shot in the chest by Kane before she could do the job. Later in the series, she is held in a glass container by Kane Madhouse. Then next we have Claude Withers. The character is voiced by Kaito Ishikawa in Japanese and by Billy Kamitz in English. A human and the captain of Coup de Grace, an Incarnate extermination squad authorized by the government. He takes his job seriously and swears he will not smile until he has killed every Incarnate beast. Unknown to most people, he is the younger brother of Kane and has sworn to kill him for his rebellion. Up next, we have Lisa Runecastle. The character is voiced by Yoko Hikaza in Japanese and by Jeremy Lay in English. He is a spy from the Northern Union who feeds information to Hank about the Incarnates. Now, if we talk about the story, then it's quite grabbing when it starts, but the overall presentation lacks the quality, or I must say the standard, that other series had raised. Well, it has the potential to do good, but they failed to deliver the best out of it. With its first episode, it starts off with a bang, kicking off with the beloved Incarnates unleashing their might on their helpless enemies, with a majestic and opulent soundtrack to applaud and accentuate their heroic endeavors. In terms of presentation, the first episode is a success in many ways. So much so, in fact, that you'll likely manage to look back into the past with numerous writing issues. Consistent storytelling is something that this series struggles with constantly, but it's MAPPA themselves who managed to compile so many of those problems into their own anime-exclusive introduction. The writing in this episode is so full of gaps that it's a shining example of why you should proofread your own draft well before your deadline. It begins with a horde of soldiers equipped with nothing more than a rifle, charging towards a gigantic stone wall that is the enemy's base. Behind them is a squad of cannoneers firing at the wall seconds after. In real life, no squad in their right mind would even think of doing this, as it's a fast ticket to a mass suicide of your pawns. If this episode cared at all about logical consistency, the least it would have to do is have the cannons fire first and have the soldiers charge once a breach is made. Even then, breaching a major fortification in the Civil War would realistically take days with siege artillery and engineers, none of which are seen here. This scene was obviously a gateway to introducing the Incarnates, presenting the enemy base as a powerful force with normal soldiers being wiped away in its territory, contrast to the Incarnates who come to destroy it like nothing. But there's not much comparison to make with soldiers stupidly throwing their life away with no apparent plan. The arrival of the Incarnates itself also begs the question of why they were never shot at despite being well into the territory of the base. This scene veers into the level of a B-movie writing where any and all logic is disregarded to make something look cool. Plot armor this horribly powerful only degrades the weight that this sequence holds and is not worth the epic arrival of these heroes trekking along the battlefield like it's become a stage auditorium. In the end, the series tries to make us all cry for the fallen Incarnates, but it fails to do so as well. But we should be thankful to the visual quality gains better footing right around Hank's confrontation with Roy, taking place at an arc that I consider one of the more fulfilling parts of the narrative. The showcase of Hank becoming softer and more sentimental while Skull has grown tougher is a satisfying progression, bringing them on closer terms. This is certainly a highlight, but it's a shame yet again that the show hasn't done much to bring us close to their struggles. Well, in my opinion, the series can do much better if they get the proper management who can direct the series in a much better manner, and as well as the writing to the story, which is lacking from the beginning of the series. But the narration is quite impressive, which saves a bit of it. So that brings us to the end of our video. That's it from my side, guys. I hope you liked the video, and you will definitely give it a thumbs up. Do share your views with us whether you enjoyed the series or not, and also share your views on the video in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in our next video.